Hello, my name is David Burt. I practiced real estate law in Southwest Florida for over 10 years before joining the Marketplace Title team as operations manager in 2016. I'm going to help you gain a better understanding of your title insurance commitment.
Please remember that this video is not intended to be a full explanation of the legal implications of the commitment, nor to give legal advice. If you have questions about your legal rights or obligations, you should consult with an independent attorney. The commitment is a legally binding offer from the title insurance company to issue one or more title insurance policies, according to the terms and conditions stated in the commitment. A title insurance commitment, and later a title insurance policy, is required in most residential real estate contracts in Florida. The commitment consists of four main parts. First is the part referred to together as the jacket, consisting of the binding language and general terms and conditions that are identical for every transaction. The other three parts are Schedule A, Schedule B1, and Schedule B2, each of which sets forth information and terms specific to the subject property and transaction. The jacket begins with the notice, which clarifies the legal relationship between the title insurer and the other persons involved in the transaction. Below the notice on the first page is the title insurer's conditional promise to issue a policy. On the following pages of the jacket are the commitment conditions, which are legal provisions that clarify and limit the title insurer's obligation to issue policies. Schedule A sets forth information related to what the proposed title insurance policy will cover. Near the top of the page is reference information that identifies the transaction for which the commitment is issued. It shows Marketplace Title as the agency that issued the commitment on behalf of the insurer, Marketplace Title's file number, and the address of the subject property. The other information in this area may or may not be shown. The insurer's file number is shown just below the Schedule A heading, followed by 5 items relating to the coverage of the proposed policy or policies. The first item shows the effective date of the commitment. This is not the date the commitment is issued, rather it is the latest date of the land records available for the insurer to review. The insurer reviews the land records to determine the requirements and coverage exceptions for the proposed policies. If something affecting the property shows up in the land records after the commitment date, then the insurer may add other requirements or exceptions. Marketplace Title updates the commitment periodically to catch those changes when possible. The second item shows whose interest will be covered by the proposed policies and the maximum dollar amount of coverage. Item 2A shows that the buyer's ownership of the property is covered and the maximum dollar amount of coverage, which will be equal to the purchase price. Item 2B is for the buyer's mortgage lender's policy. If there is no mortgage, this will be blank. If there is a mortgage, this may show the name of the lender if available, or it will say to be determined. The coverage amount is usually left blank, but the eventual coverage amount will be equal to the amount borrowed on the mortgage loan. The third item tells what the buyer's interest in the land will be. Almost always the interest is fee simple. Fee simple is a very old legal term and simply means that the interest is absolute, unconditional ownership, as opposed to things like a leasehold interest, life estate interest, and other interests that may terminate at some point or limit the owner's rights to sell the property. The fourth item tells who holds legal title to the property as of the commitment date. And finally, item 5 states the legal description of the subject property. The legal description is a unique description of the property stated in a way that cannot be confused with any other piece of property. It is the description that is used in deeds, mortgages, and other legal documents. Most legal descriptions for residential property in Southwest Florida refer to plat maps that are recorded in the public land records. Schedule B1 lists the requirements that must be satisfied before Marketplace Title may issue the policies on behalf of the insurer. These include the most basic and obvious requirements, such as payment of the purchase price to the seller, signing and recording a deed and, if applicable, a mortgage, and payment of the title insurance premiums to the insurer. Also included are less obvious requirements intended to satisfy the insurer that the property title is clear of potential claims. The requirements shown on this sample commitment are common to many transactions here in Southwest Florida. Other requirements may be added in a particular transaction based on what is found in the insurer's search of the land records, such as satisfaction of judgments against the sellers or even prior owners, clearing possible liens by construction contractors or laborers, paying off property tax certificates, utility assessments, or liens, correcting code violations or paying off fines associated with them, correcting defects in prior deeds, completing a probate of a deceased prior owner's estate, or countless other possibilities.
In most cases, and whenever possible, Marketplace Title will do what is required to satisfy the requirements without any effort required from you other than signing some documents at closing. Some requirements are outside the scope of what Marketplace Title, as a title insurance and settlement agency, is permitted to do. In those cases, we will call you early in the process to discuss the requirement and what we need from you to help satisfy it.
Finally, Schedule B2 lists exceptions, which are items that affect the title of the property but will not be covered by the policy, unless they can be cleared. The first 5 exceptions listed are often cleared in typical transactions, and in those cases would not appear as exceptions in the policy. Clearing the general survey exception requires an accurate survey of the property, but we can often accept an older survey provided by the seller if available. The rest of the exceptions are almost always common things that affect land titles, such as covenants creating homeowners associations or condominiums, utility easements, administrative orders or agreements that facilitated development of the land, and statutes or regulations that could result in liens on the property. Generally, the purpose of these types of items is to provide some benefit to the property, and so they are usually not objectionable. However, because they do affect the property owner's rights and obligations, buyers are encouraged to review and understand these items.
At Marketplace Title, our guiding principle is to provide peace of mind to buyers and sellers throughout the transaction, and I hope the information provided here helped to achieve that. If you would like to further discuss any of the aspects of your title insurance commitment, feel free to contact me. Thank you.